Hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar. And my name is Adepeju Prince, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you to the organizers and the chief convener, Mrs. Stephanie, for inviting me. And thanks for choosing the topic, the teacher in her classroom or the teacher in his classroom. Because what I'm going to be speaking about, I'm going to be coming from the concept of taking ownership of your classroom. And then she proposed a topic for me, integrating technology in the classroom. Now, this is a very wonderful topic. It's cliche in the sense that everybody keeps, it's like it's something that they've been telling teachers to do for a while. Integrate tech, use tech. As a matter of fact, if you're watching me today, you are using a form of technology, either your phone, either your laptop or your tablet, whatever it is that gives you access to internet and makes you see me right now. You are tech compliant, right? Now I'm gonna go from a different angle today, and I'm gonna be using some parts of my personal stories to buttress my point. But I wanted to know that integrating tech in your classroom goes beyond having a laptop, projecting your lessons on the screen, playing videos for your students, and generally just doing what everybody does who's a teacher in a forward-thinking school. That's the basic. So once more, welcome to my session. My name is Adepeju Prince. I am streaming from Kansas City in Ohio, the United States. And I used to be a teacher in Nigeria. I taught for approximately 10 years. I used to teach early years, and I also taught mathematics and physics. I'm a physics, my major was physics at degree level, and then a master's, I did science education. So thank you for joining me. And at the end of today, I would like to get your feedback, and I would like to know how this has helped you, all right? You can hit my DM on all my platforms, which will be displayed later. So thank you very much. Now let's go to integrating tech in your classroom. Like I said earlier, I'm not here to rehash the wheel. You're already using tech in one form or the other. How you use it though differs from one school to the other, but it's okay. So today I'm going to be coming from two aspects: the hardware technology and the software technology. The hardware is what you already know: your laptop, your phone, microphones, anything that you can hold on to that links you to tech. It could be a screen, it could be your TV. I have only one information for you here: invest in a good one. What did I say? Invest in good gadgets. I know that the money is not much, but if you can do a job, that's contribution, daily contribution, monthly contribution, or weekly, whichever one works for you, to pay your house rent, to buy material stuff for yourself, to go on vacation. If your career is not where it is supposed to be or where you hope for it to be currently, investing in your career is an important reason why you can do contribution, or why you can sacrifice and create opportunities for you to take care of yourself as a teacher. And one of those ways is investing in good gadgets. I can't emphasize this enough. And if you already have all the gadgets I mentioned, please invest in good internet supply. And I know that you're going to say, in this inflation, there's no money to pay heavy internet every month. If you're willing, there is always a way. And there's always a means to the provision. It would always come. I can tell you that for free. It would always come. So, if you know that you are a teacher who's already integrating tech in the classroom and need to take it to the next level, having access to quality and constant internet supply, you cannot negotiate it. It's not negotiable. As at 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I was already using MiFi, and at some point that was all I was using for my internet classes. And from using MiFi, my classes became so influential, such that I placed what I was doing online, and it gained traction. I was able to attract people who were willing to pay for that quality of service in my DM. And not only that, the fact that I could operate at that level of consistency and constant internet connection, with teaching, also opened doors for me such that I was able to qualify for a few things. And that is one of the reasons why I'm in the United States, right? So applying for grad school is a very tricky process. It's also emotionally and mentally draining. But there's a part of it where it boils down to what the person who requires you to come for grad school wants and what you can offer. And at that point, if what you can offer and what they did is not aligning, even if the school wants you, they're not going to give you that mission. So I remember one of the interviews and they asked me, "You're from Nigeria?" I said yes. "Are you streaming from Nigeria?" I said yes. "So how come your internet is not shaking and your power supply is not dim?" I just laughed. I said, "For the power supply, I spoke to my boss and he's allowing me to use his office that has constant power supply. And for the internet supply, I showed them my Wi-Fi that it cannot break because as at then it was 5G. And it's a little bit on a higher band than the ones on the phone." And that was really impressive to this set of interviewers. So you see why when integrating tech in your classroom, I know that, like I said, the topic is cliche, but consider the fact that the major theme of this webinar is the teacher in her classroom or his classroom. So you should know that anything you're hearing today is how you will take ownership of that classroom and subsequently take ownership of your career. Because if you don't take ownership of your classroom, how do you want to take ownership of your career? It's going to reflect poorly on whatever it is that you do. So let's take ownership of our tech, shall we? Have you ever thought that, okay, 5 of us, let's come together, or 10 of us, and for this year, the next academic year, the pledge is to do contribution and buy gadgets. And here's how you do it. You don't contribute to anybody's hand. You look for a gadget seller. I can recommend one for you who is very trustworthy. And the 10 of you go there and said, okay, how much is this laptop? A very good one that can hold stuff, that can, that can stay for a while, good battery, good RAM and all those things, or good phones or good iPads. I say, okay, so the 10 of us will come together. How much is it? Give you a price, split into 10. Every 10 you contribute to that person, they send that gadget to person 1, person 2, person 3, person 4. You can collaborate to improve your gadgets. You can collaborate to improve don't just collaborate to gossip or to be a troll or to do things that's not profitable for you or to do things that when they come to your classroom, there's no reflection. I understand that there are some schools I've worked in schools where we're given laptops, brand new computers. I've worked in schools where we were given desktops. I've worked in schools where they tell you, go and get your computer. That's your duty. But they give you access to tech that can maintain it, and they give you access to softwares for free. So look at your school. But just know that when it boils down to taking ownership of your classroom, your school may not be enough resource for you. And sometimes your gadgets that you can afford may not be enough for you. You may need to make a sacrifice. I'm not telling you what I've not done. I'm only saying it now because it has produced the result that I wanted it to produce. So that's number 1. Take ownership of the kind of gadgets that you use, right? If it means to go and do an extra side hustle, so that by the time you are streaming, by the time you are creating on your computer, you are using a modern gadget, not something that's been abandoned. And if you have people abroad, this is not the time to ask them for 10K. Ask nicely. If they have access to computers they're not using anymore, that's if you cannot afford it, like you can't even afford the contribution. Or if they want to send you anything, don't ask for iPhone 16 Pro Max. It is very useful, but it's not useful for you right now as a teacher. What you need, if they can get to the laptop version, that would be perfect. Have a nice setup, a place that when you come into, whether it's your house or your office in school, this is Miss Prince's table. The gadgets are giving 2024 teacher. Right. So we're done with hardware. Now the software, very interesting. Now, as a teacher, if you are not aware of tes.com, twinkle.com, if you're not aware of how to surf the web, to download PowerPoint slides, to download simulated videos that help your classroom, I cannot help you. That is another training entirely. I think Mrs. Stephanie too should know a few things about that, especially those of us who are not in early years. We need help with PowerPoint creation, not because of anything. It takes time. I mean, you're going to be teaching how many classes per year? If you have 2 or 3 classes or 2 or 3 subjects, that's how many PowerPoints. And it's very important because you are teaching Gen Alpha. You are teaching Gen Beta. These guys were born into the digital world. Even the way they were born, the way they were announced into the world was through pregnancy shoot. Right. So you as a teacher have to come up to that stage. If you have been teaching for 15, 20 years, this is going to be a bit difficult for you, but sorry, you are now in 2024 and you have to align. Right? So these are websites that are either paid, and you can combine the payment. You can combine the payment. Your next birthday wish list, you can add it to it. Somebody can give you 6 months payment on twinkle.com, on tes.com. You're going to have interesting PowerPoints that you just need to make slide edits on any topic. Like I said, I'm telling you things that I have done. Can you imagine being a physics teacher and wanting to teach electricity, and you're seeing the positives, the negatives, and you're seeing everything just working together, to show how a bulb is lit? There was a time that I had to teach hearing. I'm teaching sound and physics, and I had to teach how we hear and how our the ear as an organ transmitted to the brain. I got the PowerPoint from tes.com. It was one of my wildest lessons. Oh, I loved it. I really did love it. You should learn to explore with the software. And I just mentioned a few. There are so much more. If you cannot pay, if you can approach your school to pay. If your school cannot pay, 2 or 3 of you can come together and pay for the subscription and have access to it. Now, you can also create your own. Now, this is where you begin to take ownership of your class, because all these websites I mentioned are either from the United States, like Teachers Pay Teachers, or from the UK, twinkle.com, tes.com, and so many others. There is this one that people, Pinterest, and a lot of other places. The things you will find there are tied to the American or British curriculum. So if you want to edit it to what would suit your Nigerian curriculum, you can work on it. You can download them and edit, or better still, create from scratch. So if integrating tech in your classroom as a teacher, your ability to use Microsoft Office tools, tech, PowerPoint, Excel, Microsoft Word is one thing, you need to learn. You need to go and learn. I can't say this enough. You need to invest. Like I said, investing in yourself is investing in your... See, there's a level you would invest in yourself up to. You by yourself know when to go and look for another job or move on to a higher paying school. Because the confidence with which you deliver your classes using tech, hardware, and software will just know that I've passed this level. But let me just use this to keep building my profile. Right. Now, let's move on to building profiles. Many of us use tech already. But how many of us let the world know we're using tech in our classrooms? Because now, the teacher in her classroom, who else knows about that? I think I've mentioned this earlier in this video, that putting my work online, like just taking taking screenshots of my Zoom classes, blurring out the name, taking pictures of the videos I've prepared, and uploading it, gave me access to places and people that I could only imagine. Now, when you integrate tech and you've put the work in and you spend sleepless nights on this, how do you market that tech to other people? Because you also need to make money from it. You are not buying a laptop for 1 million naira, a phone for 1 million or 1.2, and you're spending maybe another 20K on subscriptions, and you are just in a training. So even if you're not paying, you're spending time, and you're not going to convert it. It's called conversion. You can't convert it to something that gives you that joy that you're getting paid, or you're getting good worth of what you've invested in. Number one, many of us teach with YouTube. Many of us get inspiration from TikTok. When am I going to get inspired by you? When am I going to go to your YouTube and see evidence that you came to this training? And at this point, I don't care what kind of phone you're using. From the very first week of school, choose one of the lessons that you like the best and record it just like this. Or you record your screen when making the PowerPoint. Speak over it and upload on YouTube. You only have to do this for one academic session, especially for those of us who teach one class for it. When you are a second grade teacher, so that at the end of every week on Friday, when writing that communication book, you pick your pen and your paper. Dear Miss Prince, today I taught Princess how to spell or how to write or with electricity. Kindly let her go to YouTube, put the link of your page. Don't refer them to all these children YouTube that are using you to make money. And say, please let her watch it again over the weekend. We'll do revision on Monday and go on to letter B or move on to a new topic. Do you know how many students you have in your class? Do you know how many times they would watch that within the school year? Do you know how you would market yourself nicely to parents in your class and students? Do you know where that will go to? And if your school wouldn't give permission for you to record in the school premises, which most of them won't do, record in your house. How many preps, how many classes or lessons do you do in a week? Just one of them is enough. If you go to my YouTube channel, I deleted some because I used songs of other people to make the video, and then I had to take it down because, of course, it's not my content. All you have to do is record with the phone, record with the gadget, topic, or make it fun. You know, what you do in class, do it with your children, do it just to the screen. The way I recorded this, record it too, and upload it. You will get better with it. You would overcome that initial imposter syndrome. And that is you using the tech you've integrated in the classroom to convert money for yourself. Now, how do you make such soft videos relevant? For example, I'm going to use what you're seeing in this screen. I sat here on purpose. If I want to teach time, for example, most of the lesson plans of today, I can bet you they have that clock behind me. Analog. I like analog. I still like looking at it, and I think it gives discipline to the mind when looking at the time. But I also have a smartwatch. So if I'm teaching my students, current students, I'm going to put that so that they know their past, they know their history, and they get used to it, and they enjoy the problem-solving skill I think that learning analog clock would give them. But they also know this because this is what their mothers, their fathers, their friends, most likely them, are wearing. And I don't just teach them the time, I teach them other things the smartwatch can give you, like check your health, check your steps, and why people these days prefer it to the analog. It's mobile, it's easy, I can charge it, I don't need to hang it somewhere, I can look at my watch per time, I can do all other things on it. It's like a mini phone. So you see, kids will be more interested in your class. It'll be tech you're integrating in your lesson. It's aligning with the tech they see outside daily. So integrating tech in your classroom goes beyond just displaying your gadgets or showing your software. Is you integrating every tech in the child's life to the tech you're bringing to class with the topic. I don't know if you get my drift now. And then to finally push it home, you put all of these lessons together and put them on YouTube or on a channel that you are sure you have traffic. And even if you don't, you can build the traffic consistently for a year. Even you as a person, it will teach you accountability, it will teach you to get up, it will teach you perfection, it will teach you excellence. Now, How do you improve your knowledge of technology? When I was in Nigeria, I thought I was all that. And yes, I was, because the tech I was using then, or had I had access to, most teachers in my field at that level across the world, let me say many developed countries don't. As at then, I was already running hybrid lessons from class using the smart board. But when I got here, I thought that I was a little bit behind, and I had to take personal classes to meet up. So while you are relaxing on your oars and you're like, I have this laptop, I have this phone, I can use this gadget easily, I can use this software easily, improve your mind. And how do you do that? On your own without being told. Just look for random videos of teachers in your grade but outside Nigeria and see what they are up to. What tech are they using now? Recently I went on a fact-finding mission and I realized that calculators are becoming obsolete. Can you imagine? If you're here and you're teaching grade 12 or any certificate class where the students intend to go abroad to join the high school day or to be in the uni day, by God, please don't teach them only the physical calculator, because some of the exams they're going to do there, qualifying exams, require this online calculator that also has an online graphing system. And this is not what the teachers are using. This is what is integrated into the exams they are going to do. So that means if I'm in Nigeria, for example, and I'm very excited about what I'm already achieving, which is okay for that context. But if I imagine in my life that I will be sitting on the same table with educators from all over the world, then I need to speak a global language. So what is your global tech language? How familiar are you with global resources from every corner of the world in your field? You need to ensure that in every way possible, you're updated. Hardware, software, and tech teaching skills. Now, I'm going to round up with those who are in online classes. If you're teaching online classes, there are other ways you can also use tech, which is different from in-person classes. For starters, you need to make that Zoom or that Google Meet interactive. Let students write, let students take leadership, let them exchange ideas, let them gain access to safe websites and links that would create more access to more content for your class. All those things are like lessons for another day. But for this particular webinar, the things I want to take away are a few things. One, upgrade your gadgets. Let them be the gadgets that can function anywhere in the world. And I mean, there are some phones that won't work outside Nigeria, just so you know. Number two, create a tech ecosystem in your class that aligns with what the children are seeing every day. I know our textbooks can be funny sometimes. They give you examples that even you no longer use in your house. Upgrade it. Let your PowerPoints be as interactive, especially with simulated videos. Then, take ownership of your tech inclusion. Transfer them into something that can make money for you. Create YouTube channels, create opportunities for the children to come back and watch that lesson again and give you feedback. All right? Now, if everything I've said here makes any sense to you, can you send me a DM? Let me know how this has blessed you, right? But before I go, I have an assignment for you, and I have a prize for the best 2 entries. You will submit to Mrs. Stephanie. What you will do for me is you would just send me your profile. And I want to see on that profile how you have integrated tech in the classroom. Just your social media page and how you're using it. And I'm going to look out for only one thing. If I was a parent in Nigeria who have children in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, would what you're doing be relevant to what they need? Because if you're using tech in your classroom, the aim for you is to become a global educator. So if what you have now, if I suddenly refer someone to you from Brazil or suddenly refer someone to you from India, are you willing to take on that role? Do you have gadgets to conduct that class? If a door is open for you today and they said, Prince, you are going to teach in a UN facilitated school, in a school that is equipped by the United Nations, and you'll be teaching 10 locations within the next 1 year, 10 global locations. Are you ready? If you cannot answer that question, honestly, don't say it by faith. I know faith. I'm a Christian. But if they know that if they wake you up today and they said, you are going to teach in 10 physical locations, 10 different countries, and 10 online locations, as a math teacher, as an early years teacher, as a science teacher, and you know that you are not equipped enough, run quickly into Mrs. Stephanie's DM. I know she has human and material resources to help you. But for me, just show me your page online. Let me see how are you integrating tech in your classroom and how you're marketing yourself in that tech space. And I said the top 2 entries has cash gifts from me. Thank you for listening to me. Let me know how this has blessed you. And hopefully by next conference, we'll be here in person. Bye.